Well, folks, Super Bowl Sunday is finally within reach here, Josh. Our last video for NFL's sake on this channel for the season. We always talk about how quick it's going, but we are not going home yet, Josh. We have one show and 10 and a half units to still throw at this board one last time. We have a couple futures bets that we're looking to get through the hoop this week on Thursday as well. Hopefully, we'll have some cash loading in for Super Bowl Sunday to throw on some of these bets. Some of
Yeah.
those are looking really nice on your part there. We appreciate all the work you put in this season, and we know you've put a lot of work into this game coming off a quiet playoffs for you overall. Obviously, we had that New England versus Houston game. That was your biggest bet of the year. We saw
Yeah.
that hit in relatively sweat free fashion. A pretty nice wild card weekend as well for you. Now you're going chips in the middle here for the Super Bowl. You're loading up one last time downfield.
Yeah, man. No, this is seemed like just yesterday we were plotting out doing some fantasy drafts and doing fantasy drafts, mock drafts, and getting everything ready to go for the season, buckling in for week one and sweating our bets only to go 0-3 on in week one there. So that was good times, man. Hey, I would
Mm.
I would do it all over again though for sure. Listen here, we got Super Bowl Sunday, always a special time of year. Yeah, we got four bets in this one, like you mentioned. Hopefully a big week for us here inside the closet. If you've been riding with us since the beginning, you already saw one of our futures bets go through the hoop, and that being Zach Charbonnet, obviously cashing as far as having the most rushing touchdowns for the Seattle Seahawks this year. And lo and behold, we have the Seattle Seahawks playing in the Super Bowl here against the New England Patriots. And we also got Mike Vrabel. Speaking of Patriots, we got Mike Vrabel as our futures bet for Coach of the Year, and we are feeling very good about that. And then the other future bet that we have that is hopefully going to go through, we will see with how the voters are feeling. James Pierce Jr., the edge rusher for the Atlanta Falcons to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. So if those two come through, man, we are looking at I believe it is plus, I'm doing the math in my head. I think that's 22 units right there in between those two bets if those both come through. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they come through, and then we have a little extra cash to play around with on Super Bowl Sunday. But other than that, man, I'm fired up, ready to get into dive into these plays and the explanations.
Yes, sir. You mentioned it, man. JPJ winning that Defensive Rookie of the Year will be special. We need the voters to go in our favor. I mean, Bill Belichick knows as well as anyone. You don't know what these voters are going to do these days, Josh.
Yeah.
But one thing Bill Belichick does know how to do is play against the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl. Mike Vrabel, filling his footsteps, is going to be doing that in his first year with the team, facing another coach early in his tenure with McDonald and Sam Darnold. Storylines are endless here, Josh. Where are we going with this? We have a straight up play. We have the MVP in this video,
Yeah.
and a couple props as well. Where do you want to start with this slate?
Okay, let's start off with the play. Let's start off with the one everybody wants to hear. We're on a side here in this game. Okay, we don't have the total. The total, if you held a gun to my head, I kind of like the under in this game, but we're not going with that. We're going with the side. Seattle Seahawks -4.5, 6 units. Our biggest play of the year. We're capping with a six banger. Okay, so in my mind, Bryce, was thinking about this show and I was like, how am I going to break this down? Do I want to do like a Patriots path to success and then a Seahawks path to success and then give the play? Well, I've already thrown that in the garbage because I've already given the play. So, but I want to kind of go follow along those same lines. I want to keep it as short as possible, obviously, because I know everybody's time is valuable. But when I look at this game, I fear that it's going to fall along the same lines as what we saw last year. Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs. Why do I feel like that? It starts in the trenches. It does, and that's where it ends. That's where it went poorly for the Kansas City Chiefs last year. Patrick Mahomes tried to put on the cape, and not even Superman can fly sometimes. You know what I mean? It's when you have these behemoths bearing down on you time and time again, you only can do so much as a quarterback, and you have obviously a potential MVP in Drake May under center in this game, but the Seattle Seahawks up front combined with the New England Patriots and their woes that they've faced, especially in the playoffs, um, it leaves me worried for what the Patriots, what their forecast could be in this game. I kind of liked New England's. I looked at New England's team total under 19 and a half in this game because I don't know if I see New England putting up more than 17 points in this game, and I'm okay going on the record for saying that because I don't know what their path to success is in this game. If I'm looking at New England, they need this to be a low scoring, boring game, get it to the fourth quarter, find a way to pressure Sam Darnold. Obviously, I'm saying all the things, the surface level analysis that all you're going to hear in the 8 hours on game day leading up to kickoff. But reality is that Sam Darnold, in order for the New England Patriots to have a chance in this game, they need to get Sam Darnold off of his spot. I want to talk about this a little bit, maybe the path to success a little bit here. The Seattle Seahawks and Sam Darnold. The question for Sam Darnold has never been about talent. He's had an elite arm coming out of college. There's a reason he was a number 3 overall pick. What was the question around Sam Darnold coming out of college? It was his lack of ability to create. It was his lack of ability when he is moved off of his spot. Kind of like you heard the textbook for years on Tom Brady. If you can get him off of his spot, you can rattle him, and then you can force him into bad decisions. Sam Darnold is kind of along those same lines. Although I've actually seen him kind of upgrade a little bit as a creator this season, as he's kind of taken yet another step forward in his career. Even saying that is kind of the Patriots' path of success, is making this a boring 17-13 kind of final score. And I just don't know if I see that happening. Part of the reason here, the biggest mismatch in this game is the Seattle Seahawks defensive line against the New England Patriots offensive line. This is a Patriots offensive line that is young. It has certainly gotten better as the season has gone on. But it has certainly taken a noticeable step back in the playoffs against these upper echelon defenses that they've played against in the Denver Broncos and the Houston Texans. Will Campbell has struggled. This is a conversation for another day, but his home might be at guard in the future. He might not be the tackle that they drafted and be at 4th overall. And Jared Wilson and the rest of company there, they have struggled as well. Now you have the Seattle Seahawks come into town. The New England Patriots want to run this football and bleed clock and control the ball. That is Mike Vrabel MO and Josh McDaniels MO. I don't know how much they're going to be able to do that. I think that their path to success in this game needs to come through the air. And if your path to success needs to come through the air, I don't know, against the Seattle Seahawks, I don't know how successful you are going to be. One thing that I had in my mind that I think a lot of people are not paying a lot of credence to, aren't giving enough respect to on the New England Patriots side of things, is their path to getting here. Has Drake May performed at the MVP level that he is, being, up for the award for throughout the playoffs? No, he has not. He has not played well throughout the playoffs. However, let's also look at the fact that he played the Houston Texans defense at home, granted, but in a snowstorm. And then they also just went on the road in another snowstorm, yes, against Jarrett Stidham, but went up against another one of the top defenses in the NFL on the road in a snowstorm, did what he needed to do against the Denver Broncos. Having said that, you're now on a neutral site field, should be in fairer conditions, against what is probably another step up in class. You go from Houston, slight step down in class, to Denver, now a step up in class to Seattle once again. Seattle Seahawks, we got to see what the quick passing game looks like for the New England Patriots in this game, I think, in order for them to have a chance. In order for them to sustain drives. Seattle's defense as a run defense is not going to be penetrated nowhere near, especially with that offensive line. And then and then through the secondary, I just don't know if Drake May has enough around him. I don't know if Drake May can do enough here, put the cape on enough to, kind of sustain drives against the Seattle Seahawks. On the other side of the ball, the Seattle Seahawks, probably the biggest mismatch for the New England Patriots is their defensive line, potentially against the Seattle Seahawks offensive line. This is this offensive line in Seattle that there's a reason I didn't see Seattle in this spot at the beginning of the year, Bryce. That was because if there was one concern I had, it was their offensive line, right? Sam Darnold comes in over from Minnesota in the offseason. Why did everybody have their doubts this season? Well, people thought, well, Sam Darnold's going into a situation where he's going to get killed behind this offensive line, and Sam Darnold, if he's pressured, he's not going to have the same effectiveness as he did against in Minnesota. Well, this offensive line has gotten better and better and better throughout the season. And so I think that they're going to be able to continue their role in this. The New England Patriots run defense is their biggest advantage here. Chris Tonga, Christian Barmore, Milton Williams in the middle. Those three clogging up the middle are certainly their MO, their kind of the things that they can hang their hat on. However, as far as pressuring the quarterback, the New England Patriots are one of the lowest in the league at pressuring the quarterback. You have to pressure Sam Darnold, and New England doesn't like to blitz too much either. So they don't want them to blitz. They just want to kind of play this stay back, bend don't break kind of style with Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis on the outside, and see if they can kind of bend don't break as the game goes on. That's not going to work against the Seattle Seahawks here. They have to bring pressure. They need to pressure Sam Darnold. But then you have to pick your poison there as to what you do. Overall here, we could go on and on and on about this game. My biggest, the point that I will wrap up with on this is the fact that I don't think it's tough to predict that it's going to be exactly like last year, a complete butt whooping, but I think it's going to fall along those same lines because of what the trenches play looks like here. It's a Seattle defensive line and pass rush against a completely mismatched New England offensive line. And there's only so long that the New England Patriots defense is going to be able to hold on. You got two teams who are great road teams in this matchup. The only team that is comparable to New England on the road is Seattle Seahawks. Listen, I don't see this game. I don't see this game being overly competitive. So with that being said, we're going to go Seattle Seahawks -4, 6 units. And again, I could go on and on and on about this game, but we'll move on.
All right, so that's a real nice explanation, Josh, of how you're seeing this one, which will make this next bet a little bit shorter, I'm sure, on your explanation.
Yeah.
We have the Seahawks to win the game. Who's going to be the MVP?
So we've had two non-quarterback or wide receivers win the MVP in the last many years. You had Malcolm Smith, obviously, with the Seattle Seahawks, and you had Von Miller with the Denver Broncos. The winning team, it's going to be a quarterback or a wide receiver, and as I just finished explaining, we're going Sam Darnold to win the MVP for 2 units. Could it be JSN? Could it be Jackson Smith and Jigba? Absolutely. I think if you think that that Jackson Smith and Jigba, if you don't think that he's necessarily going to have his way with the with the New England Patriots defense, then Sam Darnold's probably your bet. If you think JSN could have his way, then I mean maybe that's the bet that you want to make. It's pretty much actually as simple as that. The one thing I was actually going to say, if you like Seattle on the money line, one thing that you could do, if you like Seattle but they're obviously don't have enough juice on the money line, one thing you could do is go and bet the MVP instead. You could go bet Sam Darnold. Obviously, that's at plus money. Sam Darnold, if the Seahawks win, he's likely going to win MVP. So that is a way that if you think Seattle's going to win, you could get some plus, some juice on your bet. But Sam Darnold to win MVP for 2 units here. New England's defense hasn't been impenetrable. I think that this is going to be Sam Darnold being able to showcase one last time that he is in fact the guy in big games.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, anytime you're betting the Super Bowl and there's a big margin in the spread, MVP is usually a way for you to get that money line on the quarterback, just over double your money in that case on that line for 2 units. As you mentioned, Josh, we got 2 props to get through here. One is a player prop, and the other is going to be a little bit of a Super Bowl special, maybe a fun one there on that end. Let's start with your player prop here, looking on the New England side.
Yeah, so Travion Henderson under 18.5 rush yards for 1.5 units. Dude, this bet kind of pains me to make, and then I'm happy to make it, though. Pains me because I love Travion Henderson. I've been a Travion Henderson truther from the get-go here. I think he's a phenomenal player, has a great ceiling. He's going to have a great career. However, things have been going downhill. Warren Sharp, if you don't follow Warren Sharp, would recommend that you follow Warren Sharp. Go check out his website, Sharp Analysis. Um, he wrote a great article actually on this about Travion Henderson recently, I think just in the last couple of days, talking about kind of Travion's fall off this season and how basically the New England Patriots, when he, after the bye week, if you take out the two blowouts against Miami and New York Jets, the Patriots are basically a bottom tier offense in EPA per play with Travion Henderson on the field, and they're a top 10 offense with him off the field. Part of the reason for that is Travion Henderson has continued to be a little bit of a liability when it comes in pass protection, which is super ironic because Travion Henderson was his MO, his one of the biggest feathers in his cap in the draft process was that how good he was in pass protection. It just hasn't come to him at the pro level yet for some reason. We have no idea yet why. The point being, though, is that the Patriots, they also, along with Travion Henderson struggling, and they obviously noticed that they were struggling, they became a little bit predictive as well. Warren kind of talked about this in his article. When Travion Henderson was on the field, because they didn't want to put him in a pass protection situation, they ran the ball with Travion. When Travion Henderson was off the field, Ramondre Stevenson would come on, and they would kind of basically obviously either run. They'd be a little bit more unpredictable with Ramondre because Ramondre can run or pass protect. But Travion Henderson, when he was on the field, like they were running the ball with him. That's obviously going to be picked up by, and obviously the New England Patriots picked up on their own tendencies because you saw in the championship game against the Denver Broncos, Travion Henderson played 4 snaps. Four individual snaps in that game, and his snap share has been going down each and every single week throughout the playoffs. He's played less and less and less to the point where they basically kept him off the field and they just said, Ramondre, you are our guy, you are our bell cow. I don't know if it's going to work out exactly like that. It might not, but it very well could. And if it does work out like that, the opportunity is just not going to be there for Travion Henderson to kind of run the ball here. The other thing is Travion Henderson does most of his damage as a runner outside of the tackles. He does most of his damage by outflanking the defense and obviously getting off to the races there. This is not a defense in the Seattle Seahawks that you're outflanking. It's just not happening. I don't know if Ramondre Stevenson's going to have much success in this game, but Travion Henderson, with the opportunity that he gets, or lack thereof, combined with the skill set that he has and his ability to break off long runs and how they come against the bad matchup against Seattle, I just don't know if he's going to have enough opportunity to eclipse this number. It's a low number. That's why we only have 1.5 units on it. But and Travion Henderson, don't get me wrong, he has the ability, if he has a crease, could he absolutely spring one? Sure he could, and he could clip this number in one shot. But we're gonna ride with what the trend has been throughout the playoffs, and that is Travion Henderson under 18.5 rushing yards for 1.5 units. I also expect, like I mentioned, the Patriots' success, I believe, is going to have to come through the air in this game if they do have success offensively. That's not going to affect the rushing number that we have.
Okay, so Josh, not so often we get to see you bet against one of your Ohio State Buckeyes,
There you
but
go.
we will in this case. Let's end with our last prop here. I mentioned it's a little bit of a fun one on the Super Bowl special side of the card, which is always fun to get into.
Mhm.
Always a couple I'm looking at in this case. What are we going with here for the show?
Yeah, no, I liked this one as soon as I saw it. We're gonna go with a non-quarterback to attempt to pass in this game, or depending on your sports book, it might be over 2.5 passers in this game to attempt to pass. We have this for 1 unit. It's paying a little over 3-1, so a little bit of juice there. So we've had in the last 10 Super Bowls, we've had this happen. This bet hit 4 times. With one of them was actually, sorry, there was almost a 5th time that it happened. One trick play was dialed up. People might remember, to Ted Ginn Jr. This was in Super Bowl 50, Panthers against the Broncos. And Ted Ginn Jr. was going to go for a pass, but he actually ended up getting sacked. So this was like, if you want to kind of like technically it's only been 4 times that this bet has hit, but it's been dialed up 5 times in Super Bowl, so half the time in the last 10 years. So with that, I kind of I like this bet partially as well because of who we have available to us. Now, in making this bet, Bryce, I kind of had it in my mind that if this bet was going to hit, it's probably going to be the Seattle Seahawks, or sorry, it's probably going to be the New England Patriots that hit this bet for us. I don't know if I see Seattle pulling this out. If Seattle does pull it out, I think it's going to be Cooper Kupp is the one who does it. We've seen him attempt to pass in a Super Bowl before, back with the Rams. But the guy that I kind of have my eye on for the New England Patriots is actually Kyle Williams as the guy who to potentially make this pass attempt for us here. Kyle Williams, some people, probably the New England Patriots, nobody outside of New England Patriots diehards, or if you're a fan of Washington State, probably knows this. He was a quarterback in high school before converting over to a wide receiver. He was a very good quarterback at that as well before converting over to wide receiver. The other thing that we have in our favor here is the play caller on the New England Patriots side of things, Josh McDaniels. You'll remember that Josh McDaniels had available to him for many years Julian Edelman, who was a quarterback as well in his own right, drafted as a quarterback actually out of college. He's not afraid, obviously. Now Julian Edelman, obviously, famously, well, cover your ears, Bryce, made one of his great passes to Danny Amendola in the divisional round, I believe it was, against the Baltimore Ravens, which a 50-yard touchdown pass, I believe it was. That obviously he pulled that out. Josh McDaniels is not afraid to pull this out. So I like the play caller. The last thing I'll say on this, because a lot of things have been going through my mind just with this bet, and the reason why I like it so much is I've talked about New England and how their path to success and how I struggle to see it in this game for them to grind out a victory. If New England's offense has the troubles that we think it's going to have against the Seattle Seahawks defense, one of two things is going to happen. Either A, this bet is going to smack early in the game because Josh McDaniels is going to it's going to be one of those early, maybe in the first drive, tone setting kind of plays, catch him off guard, have the ball at midfield. Kyle Williams finds, Stephon Diggs down the field, right? Or Kayshon Boutte down the field to kind of catch Seattle off guard in that sense, right? Either that's going to happen, or B, we're going to see something maybe more in the second half where coming out of halftime potentially after New England hasn't had much success all the first half, and now they need to get something going here. They need something. They need a spark. They need anything to get going to have life in this game, and so they go and turn to a play like this. So I just obviously these are all potential hypothetical situations. I just think that that's how it's going to go. We only have one unit on this bet. I think it's a fun one. I think it's one that's obviously hit at least 4 times in the last 10 years. A non-quarterback to attempt to pass for one unit is our final play here in the Super Bowl.
So 10.5 units total being thrown down on the big game for the Janitor's Closet here, folks. We appreciate you rocking with us all football season. We will be having our probably next video on this channel will be our baseball futures. I've got some of those cooking up already.
I know.
But for now, folks, we appreciate you all season long. A lot of fun doing this. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below. We appreciate your support. Best of luck in the Super Bowl, and we'll see you folks soon. Take it easy.
Yes, sir.